How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another discussions video. Now today is going to be a bit of a special one since it is going to be the maybe long awaited FNAF movie review that I've been talking about for a while at this point. And I am going to be joined by my good friend David. However, before we actually get into the main review, I just wanted to have a little bit of a intro, I guess, because I didn't actually get around to recording one when we sat down and recorded the main video. So I'm recording this after the fact. And with that, a little bit of a disclaimer. There are going to be, not disclaimer, maybe warning would be a better thing. I don't know, whatever. A little bit of a thing. There's going to be spoilers, obviously, for the FNAF movie. David made a point of wanting to make sure that I said that there's going to be spoilers. So, yeah, there's going to be spoilers for the movie. So if you haven't seen it, I guess go watch it. I mean, it's been out for a while. So anyway, with that, this video is going to be a really long one, as you can probably tell. So I would highly recommend grabbing a snack and a drink because it's going to be quite a ride. So anyway, with that, I will let you guys go and get right into the video. So have fun, and I guess see you in the next one.
Today we'll be reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, the one that came out in 2023. We going over what we think of it, and we'll be going over some lore stuff with Ryan, because he's more of an expert on this than I am. So be sure to like, subscribe, and blah blah blah, whatever. Stay to the end of the video for a sponsorship. Just kidding, I'm not sponsored, but if you want to sponsor me, my email is always open. So let's start off this review with a fun fact, because I watched this on Amazon Prime, and you know they have like the fun facts on the apparently this movie has been in development since 2015. But it went through so many directors and writers and producers, and eventually Jason Blum, the founder of Blumhouse Studios, or Blumhouse Productions, the company that made this movie, he eventually had to step in and just produce it himself along with Scott Cawthon, and it was directed by Emma Tammy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm glad that they stuck with it. First and foremost, because I guess in the end it did work out for them. This was apparently Blumhouse's #1 priority when they were producing films, and they made like almost $300 million in the box office, which is what their highest grossing movie. So I guess it worked out in the end. So I guess to you, Ryan, you know, you think it really?
It is my turn to talk.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I know the movie was in development for a long stinking time, and at some point, people just kind of thought it wasn't gonna happen. And then I know in FNAF Help Wanted, when that game came out, for a little bit of time, there was an Easter egg that on one of the TV screens, I think by the prize counter, they would have like glitched out images showing like animatronics or like endoskeletons, and it was supposedly from like the movie, so it was supposed to tease the movie. And then obviously the movie didn't come out till like 4 or 5 years after that, so definitely.
So Scott Cawthon was referencing the movie in his games.
Well, because Help Wanted was created by Steelwool Studios, so I don't exactly know all that much about it, but I know that was the common thing at the time, was like, oh, there's a couple leaked images in Help Wanted, so it's like, oh, you know, teasing the movie, and then the movie didn't come out till a long time after that. So
okay,
it was just
it finally came
a long time.
It finally came out, and you and I watched it in theaters, and
I think the day it came out, right?
I think it was the day after it came out.
Maybe the day after.
Maybe it did come out. I don't remember. It was but I knew like we watched it like very soon after it like came out. So, but yeah, what did you initially think on that day after watching it?
I brought it up a couple times in some of my other videos, but I remember like just having a blast watching that movie. It was funny, but also like some of the cooler parts were like really cool. I mean, obviously the best part of the movie has to be when Sting and Springtrap showed up. That's like the most awesome entrance like ever. And he's in the entrance to Freddy, and he just shows up with the creepy stinging music. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. It did have like a lot of cool cinematography, and I really like the animatronics in it.
Absolutely.
They looked really cool. they did a great job on that. Apparently the animatronic mascots were made by the same people who made the Muppets. Got Jim Henson his company. Yeah, so
I didn't know that one. That's kind of cool.
yeah, yeah. I remember when I watched it, I also had a lot of fun, but I think for a different reason, because I just thought the humor was really corny. Like
Yeah.
we were joking a lot, like, oh man, he's right behind me, isn't he? Or
the Faz gang. Let's build this fort, Faz gang.
Let's spring this trap, Faz gang.
The amount of memes that came out before the movie was released. Oh my word.
So funny. But I think like looking back, it was I really liked it. It's not Oscar worthy, obviously,
No.
but I don't think it has to be good. I'm looking back after my second rewatch, it was pretty decent. It's a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thing. Like watching it the second time just on my own, it wasn't like as fun of an experience as watching it in theaters with somebody else. But it's like, it's still fun.
Yeah, it still held up. I think obviously, like I mentioned, like the animatronics like really good, but story wise, what did you think of the story?
So, I mean, it seemed like a fairly basic story for the most part. It seems like there's kind of there's kind of like two stories. The main story I felt like was obviously, you know, Mike finding out what's happening at the restaurant, working with Vanessa, who's also kind of working against him, and then they defeat Springtrap. Like obviously you got the main story, and then you got a couple subplots of like, oh, their aunt's gonna try to take away Abby, right? That was her name.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, and then you have the sort of other subplot of like Vanessa standing up against William and stuff like that. So there's a couple other subplots in there, but obviously the main story is just the Five Nights at Freddy's. So
yeah,
I thought it was decent.
I guess that like the games gave them a lot of room to like really to take creative liberties, because like you know the game was just you sitting there. There really is no story. So I guess I guess it was a bit hard. I understand, to make a story out of that. Like you want to be loyal to the game, but you also want to make a story. Well, and having a guy sit there for like 6 hours is not really a good story.
Well, and the hard part too is it's like as more games got released, you have stuff like FNAF 2 and 4, which are prequel games. And so technically those would be a better place to start with a movie, but you also don't want the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie to be about FNAF 2. So you're kind of torn
you
there.
want it to be at the original FNAF. So in my opinion, I think if I had to write this, I'd probably do the same thing. Like
probably
I think they did a good job like trying to like, because it's like a tightrope walk. You're trying to like balance the different things and like trying to like make a story, but and I think they did a good job with that.
Absolutely.
One criticism I hear a lot about this movie is that people wanted it to be like rated R, have like be like more brutal and like, but you know, I mean it was like there was a lot pretty much gore scenes. I mean like
the Freddy kill scene.
Yeah, when like we probably should have done a spoiler alert in the beginning of this.
Dude, the movie's been out for like a long thing of time.
You don't know. Someone could have came out of like a coma of like 2014. Like,
right.
Wow.
I'll edit in a spoiler alert at the start of the video.
Warning: this This review contains spoilers. Please, if
You
you
gotta do the most monotone
don't,
voice.
yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled, please pause this video and watch the movie. It's on Amazon Prime or whatever. We're not sponsored by this film, so I'm not shilling it. But if you don't want to be spoiled, please watch the movie before you watch this review. But all right, back to the what we were talking about.
But with
I
the
feel
ratings.
I it's not about the rating per se. It's just I
Well,
feel like
yeah.
this movie tried to lean too much on body horror, where they just that the animatronics just slashing and like hacking like people and like
Mm-hmm.
guards. It kind of like I don't think that would make a good a good movie. Not
Yeah.
because like I'm adverse to gore. Like I like horror movies with body horror. It's just that like that's not really what Friday Nights at Freddy's was really about.
It's all the
It's really
jump
about the
scares.
yeah, it's about the suspense and the absurdity of animatronics like hunting you down.
Mm-hmm. I will
So
say, not to interrupt you, but
yeah,
I
no,
will
go ahead.
say the one scene that I thought did like really well is when Golden Freddy shows up to Mike and Abby's house, and you get the shot of their aunt, like she's sitting down, she's about to watch TV,
Yeah,
and then the camera like kind of pans around the corner of the house, and you just see Golden
yeah,
Freddy standing right there. And
that
then
was
Abby runs
yeah.
out of her room and is like, "Oh, cool, I get to go," and just sees Golden Freddy staring at her from down the hall. Like I thought that was pretty good. You just see this thing in animatronics standing there, kind of in the shadows. I thought that was pretty fun.
It's pretty cool, yeah. And like even though I say like I didn't want like I didn't want too much body horror like in this movie. I did say like the scene where like those animatronics attack the the robbers breaking into
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty cool scene, and like that really like shows like what the it's a good way to introduce like the capabilities of the animatronics and like how they're like super um defensive about like
Yeah.
their so
Yeah, like they don't care who
I
they're attacking. They're just gonna attack everybody.
so I'm not saying so what I'm saying yeah the point I'm trying to get is that I'm not averse to like gore and like murder in this movie. I'm just saying like I think I think there isn't like
There's not
what's my
enough
train of
elements
thought.
that make it FNAF like.
Yeah, yeah, and like I don't think it really needs any more gore and
Yeah.
brutality in it because again that's not what FNAF is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, I mean maybe in the future games it kind of gets more brutal and then you could do that in future movies, but really in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning for the first one I think it was fine.
I do
But
think with those scenes you're talking about with the robbers,
yeah,
when I was rewatching it, I think Chica in the kitchen, I think the way they could have really made that like an actual jump scare FNAF like thing is when,
yeah,
the guy, he opens the fridge and he sees the cupcake and he's like, "What?" And then he hears a rattle and he turns around and he looks back and the cupcake's gone. I think instead
yeah,
of him turning around and then seeing Chica stand there and her eyes turn red and then the cupcake jumps at him, I think it would have been more
yeah,
effective to have him turn around and then just immediately cut to Chica jump scaring him, because that would have caught everybody off
yeah,
guard. Because you
I
can see her
would
kind of walk past the fan in the background at one point, so you can kind of, if
have.
you see it, you know that she's there, but that would still catch everybody off guard. I mean, oh, the cupcake's gone, and he turns around, and boom, Chica. I think that would have been better, but I still kind of like the way they had it too. But I do get what you're saying. There wasn't a whole lot of actual like suspenseful jump scares. It was just,
Yeah.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
I just remember us like sitting in the theater like when that one guy like runs to the closet and then
He's right
Bonnie's
behind me,
there
isn't
like,
he?
oh, he's right behind me. Yeah. My favorite part of the movie. Uh,
I will say, kind of with the animatronics themselves, kind of moving in that direction of like designs and actual like effects. Foxy looked absolutely amazing. I was thinking of
yeah,
his
you
scene when
look,
he charges the dude in the hallway, and
yeah,
like he looked awesome. Foxy was the best looking character in that whole movie, because he actually looked like an animatronic and not like, because sometimes you could see it with Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, and they would look like people in suits because they
yeah.
were, but Foxy looked awesome.
Especially that one scene where like it shows like the kid version of him or
Oh, and
the kid, and then like he
he
walks
fades and
backwards, and
transitions into
yeah,
Foxy.
that's that
That
was that was such a cool
that was
transition.
cool. That was cool.
So yeah, shout out to Jim Henson. What's it called? Jim Henson's Creature Shop for creating those animatronics. They did an amazing job.
It was really good. But
Mr. Cupcake.
Mr. Cupcake.
Yeah. So I think that covers really the animatronics and the and with them. Unless you have any more to add. Now we can get.
No, that's about it.
Okay. If you want to get into more about Mike's character and his story, about him and Abby and like him trying to make sure she doesn't get like, adopted by the aunt. And that's where like it kind of like veers away from FNAF. Like it's trying to like, create Mike as a character and not just some random character you play. But what do you think about that?
Well, it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of elements in the movie are like this, and I'll get into some other ones later, but I definitely, like, a lot of people were a bit put off by, like, these characters actually being characters. Because people just wanted, like, a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and then it's, like, a lot of story outside of that, but I actually kind of like that, because it makes it a movie, and I'm like, oh, I actually don't want this guy to get killed, because he actually has a purpose to be here, right? So I do think the inclusion of new story and actual character development does make the movie better, because it actually makes you like these characters for a little bit, right? Like, so it just makes you like the characters a bit more, and it makes you look forward to seeing them again in the next movie. Whereas if it was just like, oh, it's Mike, he's alone, he commutes to work every day, and then he sits there for 6 hours, and then he goes home.
Mike the 9 to 5 worker, the movie. It's just him like, sleeping on the job, occasionally waking up to use the bathroom and to eat like trail mix so he doesn't go hungry on the job and then go back to sleep. Yeah. What else are you gonna eat on third shift?
Fair enough.
Graveyard shift. Yeah. Story. Yeah. Well, are these characters gonna be in the next movie? Because it's in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and that takes place or Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
So I'm guessing what they're gonna do is sort of like how in this movie you kind of had flashbacks to Mike and his family camping and then Garrett getting taken. I'm guessing that they'll probably have flashbacks to the FNAF 2 location, but it'll take place, I don't know, somewhere. Like, it'll include all the same people, but I think that it'll have more flashbacks to like the past, if you kind of get what I'm saying. Because I'm assuming because another spoiler, I guess, even though everybody knows this, in the end credits, like the very end almost, there's the message spelled out that says "Come find me," and it has the puppet's music box playing, and so it definitely seems like the second movie is gonna play up like the puppet, who is most likely Garrett. So we'll probably end up seeing Garrett as the puppet reunite with Mike at some point, and we'll see some flashbacks to how Garrett got turned into the puppet at the FNAF 2 location, because that would have been around the same time. So I'm guessing that's what they'll do, but I mean, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. All I know about the second film is that Markiplier, I think, is going to be in it. So
well, he has to be, because he couldn't make it in the first one, so...
He made this series, alright? He and Matt Pat made this series what it was, so he deserves to be in it. But, yeah.
Just silence.
So... I'm trying to find another like talking point, but yeah, that really covers the animatronics, the story, the characters.
I think we could maybe talk about aspects that were maybe bad in the movie.
Yeah,
because there was a couple things I noticed.
Yeah, okay, like I said, humor is corny, that can be double-edged. That caused a lot of times to laugh for the wrong reasons. But there's just like I don't know. It's just like the scene where they start building a fort. I that
So
seemed when I first watched it, it just seems so out of nowhere. It's like, oh, these animatronics, they're dangerous. You gotta be careful. And then they start building a fort. I mean, I
and
guess
Bonnie falls
going back,
over and gives a thumbs up.
yeah, it's so weird, but I guess that goes back to, absurdity of this. This is a supernatural horror film,
Mm-hmm.
like first and foremost. So I guess like, these animatronics are not normal and they're not they're possessed by children who want to like, who are children. They want to do childish games. Like you can't blame them, but I
Yeah,
get that. But it
that's
just seemed, I guess it was pretty hard to balance that because like, you have murderous animatronic mascots who
mm-hmm.
build forts.
Well,
So it
and
seemed really weird.
that was something I was going to talk about was because that was a big complaint was that like it's like the animatronics aren't all that scary because they act like kids, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because they're possessed by kids. So it's like they're not, because like in the games you don't get that all that much. Like they're just robots that try to charge your office and jump scare you. So I get why people were like, hey, they don't act like the animatronics from the game because the animatronics from the game just come attack everybody. So I get that point, but on the other hand, if you kind of want to actually build up, what happened to these poor kids and they got stuffed into the suits, I feel like it would be a really poor decision to be like, all right, the ghost kids are going to be a big part of the film's plot. However, when they're actually possessing the animatronics, they don't act like kids.
Yeah.
Because I just think then it would be really a big disconnect of like, the kids kind of act like kids, but then they don't when they're possessing the animatronics. So I kind of thought it was an interesting part of the film. I wouldn't say it was anything like good, but I thought it at least wasn't like bad, because I know people called it
Yeah.
bad.
Going back to saying like this creating a story from this film is basically like juggling like plates. Like it's kind of hard because like the
Yeah.
games itself don't really give much to interpret, so you kind of have to like make a decision on that one. So I guess what I was trying to say was that like I didn't really enjoy like the weird. I don't know.
I think
I guess
what
it's
you're
not
like.
it's not something I hate really about the film. It's just that like the it's kind of weird pacing, I guess. We're going from suspense to fun, and you can't really do much about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said, it's kind of a fine line of, do we make it more like the games and give it less of a developed story, or do we give it a developed story but make it less like the games? And I think they went a little bit too heavy in giving it its own story and separating it from the games.
Yeah.
And making it like, just more character driven, which
But at the same time, if you go like trying to make it too much like the games, it's gonna be boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like I said, it's just gonna be some guy like sitting in an office for like 6 hours. Like,
which I mean, like,
unless like they casted Mike as like, or Mike was casted as like, or sorry, the actor for Mike is like Gary Busey or like Kevin James, and that'd be really funny.
But yeah, I mean, because it is one of those things where a lot of the complaints, right? It's not like the games, or it's all whatever. And it's like, if you want a movie that's like the games, then just go play the first game. Like, it's just the same thing. Or go watch somebody else play the first game, because then you're getting what you want. But I do think they could have played up the game a bit more, because it didn't really seem like Mike had to survive Five Nights at Freddy's, seeing as he didn't see the robots till night 3. So there could have been a bit more with it,
Literally,
but
he was playing on easy mode. Like his first shift, he literally sleeps the entire time. Like, come on, man.
same with the second one, and then the third one is when they show up and they don't even attack him. I don't. Or maybe they do attack him on the third.
Do they?
I don't remember.
Do they even? Does he even use like the camera system at all? That's one thing.
He uses the cameras twice. Once when he first gets there and he looks through them, and then the second time when Vanessa shows up and he looks at the camera that's outside. So
but it's so like when he's actually like working, that's one thing. He doesn't like actually like work. He doesn't do his job. Like, so I guess that's one thing I didn't really like. Like it barely shows him doing his job. It's just him like sleeping at the thing and like, oh my brother. But like, dude, like first and foremost, you gotta do your job. You gotta check the cameras, man. Boy.
Well, yeah, I think it would have been good to have at least one night in there where he actually tried to like survive and do the job and go through the cameras, but too late for that now.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I feel like the story, like this story, with his little brother and like I feel like that's kind of a weird way to like. I didn't really like that subplot, to be honest.
Like him. What part didn't you like from it?
Well, it's just like it just seems like a bit of a stretch to like trying to like connect Mike's past to the present. Like, oh, William Afton kidnapped my son or my little brother, and it just seemed like such a clunky subplot to like put into the movie because like. It kept like interrupting, like, or not interrupting, but like the scenes where they just shows him like sleeping and like repeated like seeing like the the memories of his little brother getting kidnapped and be like, oh, I sleep a lot because like because maybe I'll remember it, and it's just like
it does seem very random.
It seems like a very random like subplot.
I think the common idea is that somehow, so in the books and the games, kind of, William Afton had a business partner who is named Henry Emily. And I guess this kind of ties into the lore a bit more I was going to talk about, but I'll just be brief here. So the idea is that Mike's dad was actually like the stand-in in the movies for Henry. And so William would have known them or like known the family. And so it's a little weird, and I can talk about it more in the lore section, but the idea is that that's how kind of they're connected, is that they were like the families knew each other. But if that's actually what they're going for in the movies, they did a really bad job of explaining that, because like it seems like they probably want to save it for like a later movie down the line.
Yeah, maybe the later movies will do a better job smoothing this out, but
because like the only hint you really get at that, like of there being any sort of connection there, is when Mike is sitting down at like the start of the movie and he's talking to William or Steve Raglan, and then so he's reading through the book and he's like, Mr. Mike Schmidt, and then he says his last name, and then William kind of like stares down Mike for a second to kind of like recognize him, but like that's it. So there's the only hint of like, oh, William kind of knows who he is, but like there's nothing played up more about that. I mean, I guess William knew who he took because he knows that they're related, because he says that in the final fight. He's like, first I killed your brother, now I kill you. So they know they're related, but like it does still seem very disconnected.
Yeah, and like nothing from the games really like. Well, I mean, we don't really know anything about Mike Schmidt's character in the games, but
we don't even know who he's supposed to be.
Yeah, so I guess, like I said, they took creative liberties, but yeah. But I just thought like it's super convenient how the guy that Mike is looking for his entire life just ends up being like his us.
Yeah, it
After
is weird.
all these years. For all these years. But yeah. That's really, I guess, my shtick of it, really.
I mean, yeah, we kind of went over most of it.
Yeah. Other things I like, the music. The music is super good. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
when it comes to one thing about me, when it comes to like video games or like movies, a good soundtrack can make up for a lot. I really like it. I really like it when things have like good music, and so I really enjoy the music in this one, especially the opening music. It's super
yeah.
good.
Which the music will be playing in the background of this video, so
Yeah. So shout out to the Newton brothers. Apparently made the score for this.
It
They
was
also
good music.
didn't they also like reference the Living Tombstone's Five Nights at Freddy's song in this?
Yeah, that was the credits. I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
I remember.
Dude,
I still remember being in the theater.
Yeah.
The music comes up, and you're like, "Yo, what?" Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I love that song, dude. I remember when I first came out, like, what, 2014, 2015?
Yeah.
I was a wee little lad. I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a good song. I'm gonna listen to it 5,000 times on my mom's phone.
Man, it was like a whoa. This brings back memories.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Living Tombstone. I remember listening to a lot of Living Tombstones when I was a kid. They come a long way. Apparently, they made songs for Hazbin Hotel, I think.
Huh.
That's cool. Yeah, I new thing every day. But so I guess another thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna bring up one more thing with the music. A question I kind of thought about is, so they kind of had to use it in the movie. I mean, it's like the most iconic FNAF song ever. So
yeah,
they kind of had to use it. But then my question is, like, are they gonna use more for the credits in the other movies? Like,
maybe.
Like, are they gonna use? Is it gonna be like FNAF 3 comes out and they have like the Die in a Fire song playing? You get like, and that's the question I have. Like, are they gonna do it all the way, or are they just like, oh, the first movie is gonna tie in more to just the audience?
I feel like it would, because there's one thing about like this movie, and I feel in the future they're gonna do this with a lot of his movies. There's a lot of like fan references that they want to use. You know, having Corey Kenshin in it, having Matt Pat, you know, make a it's just a theory, you know, reference to it, and you know, having a Living Tombstone and like a bunch of other references. I think that's what really. I think that I guess it worked. It really worked for the film. Now, whether you think that's whether you like it or not, that's really up to you. Personally, I'm okay with it. Some are better than others, but
I think
because eventually, you know, this entire film was made for the fans, so they want to like, you know, pander to the fan. That's fine by me. Some of them are really random, but you know.
Yeah, I think it worked for the first, like, for this movie because it's the first one.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they sort of keep up the same level of references to the second and third movie, it'll just get kind of weird.
It'll just become like Deadpool at this point, and
so
and
I
don't know,
if they kind of limit it a bit, like, obviously you need Markiplier in the second one. He couldn't make it for the first one, so you have to have him in the second one, and like maybe using the songs, but I wouldn't imagine doing more than that because then it would just be too much again.
Yeah. Like we said, this film, and I guess all future films, are gonna have to like tightrope walk horror and comedy, because it knows like its audience is like it's
mostly
pretty
kids.
Much both, really. It's kids, but also like it's older people like you or me who played this since 2014.
True.
So it has to really tightrope walk. Yeah. So it can't go too much to horror, because that's gonna like scare away, like, you know, the kids, and a lot of people who play it think, oh, the games were not this bloody. But if it leans too much into comedy and strays away from the horror, then it's just gonna be
Deadpool.
It's just gonna put off a lot of fans, because like we'll be like the games were this is a horror game, like you can't like
I'm
can't treat this like a this isn't a Nickelodeon like original. This is a horror game.
Yeah. And
So
I
it
hope
it has to like tightrope walk, and so
I hope they do more horror in the second one. I think they
Mhm.
definitely can with what they're working with, and we might get
Definitely.
some news slash snippets of stuff in early August around FNAF Day, since that's like the big 10-year celebration.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So they're gonna be having like news on new games and supposedly new news on like the movie. So we might be getting some first looks at that kind of stuff, but we also might just be getting like, I don't know, random behind the scenes stuff. But anyway, we could be getting some first looks at stuff. So that'll be fun to see.
That will be fun.
I wonder when they'll do
What else?
the trailer. Probably in December, don't you think?
Maybe. Movie comes out. When does the next one come out? Next
The
year.
next one
December.
comes out next December, I think. Yep, so we got a while to wait.
Yep, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, I guess that
yeah,
sort of
really,
sums it up.
really, yeah. Yeah. A lot. Okay. So there's a lot of other like comedy horror movies. Like Willy's Wonderland and Banana Splits movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know those
That
ones
like
came
people
out.
think like they came up before the movie, but a lot of people
Yeah.
think like that this movie stole a lot from those movies, and I guess I don't know. I'll be honest, I've never seen those movies,
Well, yeah.
and I think yeah.
Like, I haven't seen them either, but from what I know, those were only created because the FNAF movie kept
Because of FNAF.
like moving what studio is working with, and like it couldn't settle on a director and stuff. So a lot of the people who were working on those were supposedly working on the FNAF movie beforehand. So that's why a lot of those got made, is because of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So I don't think anything's confirmed, but like that's sort of the suspicion, is that those only came around because of how often the FNAF movie would get canceled. And so studios are like, we need an animatronic horror movie, let's just make one up.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see that.
Is that it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm running out of things to say, really, but
Well, I mean, we kind of went over the whole movie, essentially.
basically, I feel like there was something I wanted to say, but I really can't think of it off the top of my head.
I feel like there's something else I was going to say, too.
Maybe do you want to talk about the subplot with the aunt trying to?
What, that she's trying to get the kid?
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess
that's what I was going to talk about. You
Yeah.
actually reminded me of what I was going to talk about. So thank you on that. So the movie takes place in like the early 2000s. Like, I know in one of the security cameras it says like 2000. So we know it takes place in 2000 or in the early 2000s. And I felt like the movie, aside from like the visual effects, definitely felt like an early 2000s movie. And I don't know if that was intentional, if they were like, oh, this is when the movie takes place, so we'll give it that kind of feel, or if that's just how they think movies should be made. But it definitely gave me like an early 2000s kind of vibe for like a movie story and subplots and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. See that? Oh, speaking of which, the actress who played the aunt, or what was her name? Aunt Jane, right?
I don't remember.
What was her name?
I'm sure we could find it.
Yeah, no, I
Aunt
mean,
Jane,
I have to
Aunt
look
Jane.
at Yeah, the actress who played that, she got like, she got nominated, or the actress Mary Stuart Masterson, she got nominated Worst Supporting Actress for that movie.
Ooh.
The Golden Raspberry Awards. I mean, I don't think she was that bad.
No, it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't like her character, but that's the point. You're not supposed to like her character. She's supposed to be rude.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things where you blame the writers. You don't blame
Well,
the
yeah.
actress, because I think they just did fine.
Well, yeah, because I think they were all good actors and actresses, but it really does come down
Oh,
to writing.
that's what I also want to talk about, the acting and the actors like Josh Hutcherson and how do you think? And of course Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, dude, Matthew Patrick.
Yeah, him and his 3 lines, you know.
It's just a theory.
I gave their.
I would have been done if he had said that. It's a food theory. Go. But yeah,
imagine. I wonder what Markiplier's Hammy's gonna be like.
If
just
he
like
doesn't open the movie with "Hello, everybody."
it shows like a cinematic opening, like it flies into the you know, through the hallways of the location, and then like it stops right into like in front of like a computer screen. It goes down and then it shows Markiplier. Hello everybody, my name's Markiplier.
Dude, he's gonna be in the training tape. I can already picture this. He's gonna be in the training tape like as whatever Freddy's like employee training tape, like they had in the first one. You know, they had that lady go around and she was like, "Welcome to Freddy's," and like training everybody. He's gonna be in the training tape, and the training tape's gonna start, and he's gonna be like, "Hello, everybody," and then get into doing his act. I can already see it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark. Plier.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be his character.
His first name is Mark, and his last name is like Plier or something like that.
Mark
like
Plier.
middle initials like I or E or whatever.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. They're totally gonna do that. And then he's gonna get jump scared, and he's gonna be like, "Oh!" and freak out like he does in his videos. If he doesn't flip over a chair, you know, then it's not. It's not really Markiplier.
Just him screaming at the camera for 6 hours. That's the whole movie.
It's a 6-hour movie, and it's nothing but Markiplier getting jump scared.
Oh my gosh!
It's just the Markiplier mega jump scare compilation.
That's why that's surprising too. With a budget of $90 million, we spent it on that.
Oh, that also kind of reminds me with the movie. It was only $20 million budget. And I thought it looked incredibly good for $20 million. I mean, the set was all built, the animatronics were all practical, with like a handful of CGI scenes. Like,
and
I thought it was pretty good for
$300 million. So that's hugely successful.
Yeah. I will say, I did notice a couple of scenes that were like cheap or bad. So, the cupcake on occasions didn't look very good. Particularly when he jumps at Mike, like in the final battle, and Mike gets him with the electric prod. It's very CGI, and you can just tell. And it's not, and I can't really fault it too much because of the budget, but like, you can clearly tell that it's just very like old CGI. So, not too much of a like, it wasn't bad, but it was like, oh yep, CGI, like obviously.
Well, I mean, obviously, but like at the same time, you can't really do that with practical effects, can you?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say like it's not the fault of the movie or anybody in the movie at all, so can't really fault them there. What you can fault them on, though, I noticed this in my rewatch. They just flipped the scene, like they reused the scene and they just flipped it. So I'll put it up in the video, but when
you're right. I'm watching this right now, totally, as it's playing right now.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Whoa, that's so cool. What is that in the corner? What's that? Oh, it says please subscribe. It says subscribe to our channels and like the video. That's so
little
weird.
bell. Ding! Hit the bell.
Yeah. Be sure to hit the
like button.
Notification so you know whenever we post. In my case, that's like never. So, well, who knows? I might post again. So, so that all reasons to press the bell. So in case I do, you'll be the first to know.
Yeah, absolutely. But the
sorry, as you're saying.
no, you're good. You're good. The scene I was talking about though, is when Abby puts the picture on the wall and all the animatronics turn on William, and then they turn the floodlights on. There's a shot of him like they turn a floodlight on and he like covers his eyes because it's bright, and then like either the next shot or the shot right after it, it's literally that same shot, but they just flipped it vertically, right, or whatever, horizontally. So they just mirrored it because he's got like withering and damage on one side of the suit, and it's on the right side of the suit. But then the other shot of him getting blinded, it's on the left side of the suit. So they just mirrored the footage and just reused it. And I'm like, you couldn't have just like had another shot of him getting blinded, but just the other way. Like, it felt very cheap there. I'm like, I feel like that'd be really easy to do. Even if you want to use the same background, like just green screen him in or something. Like, you can easily do that instead of reusing the footage and having it be somewhat obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably like the only bad part, like visual effects wise, that I think they could have actually done better. And even then, it's a very minute, like 1 second scene. So I think all in all, it was good.
So I'm trying to find other things to talk about, but I think we reached the end of our review, to be honest.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else, because I have nothing
I mean,
else to say.
aside from kind of like talking about the lore of the movie, which I might end up just making its own video, because this is already going to be a really long video. So
Okay.
I'll probably just make it its own video at some point.
Oh, wow, we're at 47 minutes already. Yeah, we have plenty of work with this week, so.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the lore is just going to be in its own video. Either its own discussions video, or I'll just, I don't know, make it part of my 8 days of FNAF or something. So we'll see. Which, this is already going to be part of the 8 days of FNAF, since this is coming out on Saturday, which is the 3rd.
Okay.
So
Nice. Alright, let's wrap this up.
yeah, we need to do the outro.
Well, when we first, we need to like give our conclusion, or like we need to give a conclusion, like what we thought of it.
Well, like we'll give it a rating, a scale out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to go first?
Sure. I would say I would give this movie, I'd give this movie a solid like 7 or 8 out of 10. It wasn't perfect, and at some points it wasn't even good, but I had a good laugh through the whole thing, and I thought it was fun. And the more like scary and intense parts sometimes hit the mark, and they sometimes didn't. I still think, you know, Springtrap was done awesomely in this movie. Like, he really just seemed like a serial killer, so that was good. But some of the bad parts kind of did drag the movie down, so that's why I'm giving it 7 or 8 out of 10. Over to you.
Honestly, I'd probably give this like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. If I were like, maybe like a B-, if we were doing like
Ooh, we're giving it grades.
Yeah, if you want to get grades, you can. But like I said, it's a fun movie. It's a very fun movie to watch. I would say very fun, but I enjoyed watching it, especially when it first came out. And I will definitely like look out for its sequels in the future.
Well, yeah.
I think the actors did a great job with their roles. You know, the casting was done great. The animatronics, it's great. They looked amazing, and I really hope they keep the Jim Henson creature shop, like,
yeah, because those were good.
Animatronics feature. They're perfect. I think that's the most perfect part of the entire movie. The animatronics are really great, but the music's great too. I really love the music. Story, you know, it's a bit out there. It's kind of all over the place, but I think in the end of the day that the writers can pat themselves on the back for being able to, you know, balance. Well, first of all, they should pat themselves on the back for trying to work with something that doesn't really give them much source to work with, so they had to take a lot of creative liberties, and I still think it did a good job staying loyal to the games. And also like being able to balance the comedy and the horror. And like I said, the story's a little kind of out there. It's not the worst story I've seen. Believe me, I've seen a lot of horrible stories. But yeah, there's a lot of things I guess to be critical about. It's just there's a lot of cheap CGI. Even though earlier I was kind of raving about the actors, there were sometimes when the acting just seemed a little bit weird and flat and not humorous, and some scenes I feel like didn't really seem that necessary. But overall, despite the flaws, it's a pretty decent movie. Yeah, definitely.
Well, guess that's about it then.
So that's about it. Thank you for watching. We should really do some more of these reviews. It doesn't have to be just movies. It can be video games. But
yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah. All right, thanks for watching.
Outro time. I'll do a rapid fire outro. David will do the background music. I'll do rapid outro. Shameless Plugs. Check them out. They're linked in the description below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Comment if you want to say anything, or if you have any other discussions or games that you want me to do. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Comment Matthew Lillard if you made it this far in the video. And at that, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Alright, I just want to give a couple things before I actually end the video here. So first, I just want to give thanks to David for joining me in this movie review. I think it would have been a lot more boring without him, so big thanks there. And I also just want to let you guys know that tonight's stream is going to be a bit of a fun one, because David's actually going to be technically hosting the stream, I guess you could say. So he's going to be playing Security Breach for the first time, and I thought it would be fun to just hop on in and join him for that. So he'll be playing through, and I'll be like the voice on his shoulder, I guess, the little guide to help him through the game and just watch him fail at times because it's Security Breach. But that will be happening later today, so stay tuned for that. It'll be fun. My plan is to kind of stream it on mine as well, so I'll stream his screen share. We'll figure it out. But essentially, he'll be streaming, I'll be streaming, but I won't actually be playing anything. I'll just be helping David through Security Breach. So that'll be happening later today. So that'll be fun for you guys to join in for that. And I guess that's kind of it for these little last notes that we didn't mention in the video. So anyway, thank you again for watching. I know this was a really long one, but sometimes it just has to be, because it was a lot of fun to do. So anyway, with that, stay tuned for the poll that should be coming up probably around the time this video goes live, and you guys will be able to pick what thing I'm going to do next for my next discussions video. So anyway, again, thank you for watching. Go check out DefconDavid, and I will see you in the next, I guess, stream later today. So see you around, and goodbye.